p.m. when we were called to order, but it's now 5:07, and we're really called to order. Thank you. Tonight, the invocation will be offered by Commissioner Burden, and the pledge will be led by our Marine in honor of the Marine Corps' birthday, Commissioner Moore. Please stand.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity again to come together in service of our great city of Lancaster. I ask that you bless all of our city's citizens. I ask that you bless all of the city's staff and everybody who's on board with us making Lancaster great. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Everybody, raise the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And a belated Happy Veterans Day to our Air Force member, our United States Army member, and
And to
my
you
favorite
too.
Marine, except for my brother-in-law. He's more favorite than you.
Well represented.
So, may I have a roll call, please?
Chairman Vos,
Here.
Vice Chairperson Harvey,
Present.
Commissioner Burden,
Present.
Commissioner Derryberry,
Present.
Commissioner Moore,
Present.
Commissioner Tufts is absent, Commissioner Underwood. We have a quorum.
Thank you. And welcome to everyone that's here tonight. Public business from the floor. Any person who would like to address the commission on any agendized item is asked to complete a speaker's card, which I believe most of you have already done, and present it here on my left, your right, at the end of the dais. When those items are called that you wish to speak on, we will invite you to the podium, and you would have 3 minutes to speak. Prior to that, typically staff makes a staff report. The commission may or may not ask questions. The applicants may or may not make a presentation. Typically, we give deference to the applicant so they can give us a full picture of what their project is about if they choose to. And then we call upon folks that wish to make public comments. At the end of that, typically we close the public hearing and either deliberate or vote, depending on the pleasure of the members. So our first action item tonight is the approval of the minutes of our October 16th, 2023 meeting. Have a motion, please?
I move to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of October 16th, 2023.
Thank you. A second, anyone?
I second.
Thank you. All right, any further comments, questions? There were a couple typos that got fixed. No big deal. Didn't change the intent of the minutes, right?
Correct, and the
Okay.
typos have been,
All right, great.
Correct.
Thank you. All right, then, please vote. Motion passes 6-0 with 1 absent. For the record tonight, there are a number of pieces of correspondence that we have received on item number 2, which is the first item. We did receive what's called an uncontested letter wherein the applicant has indicated that they agree with the proposed conditions that are in our packet. On item number 3, we did not receive any communication. On item number 4, no communication. On item number 5, we received A letter from the Air Quality Management District. State Department of Fish and Wildlife, about a 12-pager, also an uncontested letter. And there was a correction on item 39, fourth line down, on item number 5 in the conditions of approval, and a copy of the tract map, which staff will present visually for us tonight. On item number 6, we received a Caltrans letter, a letter from Department of Transportation. We received a letter from a law firm, a 30-pager, from a law firm, Blum, Collins, and Ho. We received a letter from Mr. Bros, a neighbor, and an uncontested letter on that one as well. On item number 7, we received a modification to the conditions on item 84. Third line down. It's a minor correction indicating Los Angeles County Recorder's Office. And we also received an uncontested letter via email. We also received, let's see if I can get through these correctly, one letter from Antelope Valley Air Quality Management District. We received a letter from a Mr. Bailey. These are letters from Castellanos, Diane V., Miss Jones, Miss Sanchez, Miss Delgadillo, Miss Almost, and Martin, Miss Martin, it was, looks like. And I believe that's everything. If I missed something, I apologize. All right, so I'm going to lose my place here. First item before us now is a new public hearing. So without objection, we'll open a new public hearing on tentative tract map number 69560, which includes a variance number 23-001. Presenter tonight's Ms. Caldwell. Go ahead.
Good evening, Chairman Vos and members of the Planning Commission. The project before you is tentative tract map 69560 and variance 23001. The subject property is approximately 3.5 acres and is located between 7th Street East and 8th Street East, north of Avenue J6 in the R7000 zone. The request is to allow for the subdivision of 3.5 acres into 15 single-family residential lots, ranging from 8,075 square feet to 10,026 square feet. Access to the subdivision would be provided from Avenue J6, Avenue J5, and 8th Street East. The streets within the subdivision would be public. The applicant is also requesting a variance to reduce the required corner lot widths of 75 feet. Lot 1 is shown in blue, is proposed to be 61.07 feet wide, and Lot 2, shown in blue, is proposed to be 62.81 feet wide. The adjacent existing built-out tracts contain corner lots with substandard widths. These lots are represented in green on the site plan. Lot 1 has a width of 68.81 feet, and Lot 2 has a width of 59.05 feet. The proposed project would be similar in design with the existing neighboring tracts. The remaining lots in the subdivision would all meet the required development standards for the zone. Therefore, staff recommends to adopt resolution number 23.33, approving TTM 69560 and variance 23-001.
Thank you. Do I have any speakers on this item?
No speaker cards.
No speakers? All right, thank you. There may be questions. Anyone? No? So it's an infill project in effect, is it?
Yes.
There's a number of subdivisions, existing homes around these properties, so this particular project is an infill, and the purpose of the variance is required because it meets the similar standards of the other home track in the vicinity, right?
Correct. It's consistent with the existing tracks.
All right, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything further from anyone? All right, then, without objection, we'll close the public hearing, consider a motion.
I move to adopt resolution number 23-33, approving tentative track map number 69560 and VAR number 23-001 to allow for the subdivision of 3.5 gross acres into 15 single-family lots and a reduction of corner lot width standards in the R7000 zone located between 7th Street East and 8th Street East, north of Avenue J6, and adopting a mitigated neg deck.
A second.
Thank you. All right, anything further? Been moved and seconded, please vote. Motion passes 6-0, one absent. The next item is item number 3. Without objection, we'll open the public hearing on this matter and request a motion to continue this until the December meeting, please. Someone?
You asked us to continue item number 3?
Yes.
Yeah, so moved.
All right, thank you. No, second?
I second.
All right, thank you. Anything further? Staff on this one? No comments? No need?
No comments. Not at this time.
December is going to be a pretty full agenda.
It's going to be a little busy, but we'll get through it.
All right, then. Please vote. Motion passes 6-0. We have a similar situation on the next side.
Sorry, it was 5-1.
What? What?
I voted no.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you for pointing that out. We have a similar situation on item number 4. So without objection, we'll open the public hearing and consider a motion to continue this until the December meeting. I'm assuming we don't have speakers on these, right?
No speaker cards.
Okay, I should have asked. I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion that we continue agenda item number 4 to December as well.
Thank you.
I second.
Thank you. All right, then please vote. And it's 5-1. 5 yes, 1 no, and 1 absent. All right, then. Item number 5, without objection, the public hearing is open on this tract map, number 83590. Ms. Alvarado?
Good evening, Chairman Vose, and members of the Planning Commission. This next item we have before you is tentative tract map 83590. So the request is to allow for a subdivision of 28.5 gross acres into 106 single-family residential lots in the R7000 zone. The subject property is located at the northwest corner of 35th Street East and Avenue J. It's surrounded by predominantly vacant land with some existing subdivisions, single family over to the southwest, southeast, and northwest. The elevations and floor plans for the proposed residential lots would be reviewed and approved by the community development prior to issuance of construction permits for compliance with design guidelines and Lancaster Municipal Code standards. In conclusion, staff recommends to adopt Resolution 2334, approving tentative tract map 83590. Myself and the applicant are available for any questions.
Thank you. Do we have speakers on this?
No speakers.
None? All right. The applicant doesn't want to talk to us. All right, Ms. Pinero, you don't need to talk to us. That's okay. All right then. All right then, since there's no questions, no public input, it'd be appropriate to close the public hearing without objection and consider a motion.
Chairman,
What?
our attorney had one update that he wanted to make to the conditions.
Chair and Commission, if I could just refer you to condition 59 on page 9 of your resolution.
Right.
You alluded to this at the beginning of the meeting, and that was to make a slight change. And if the applicant is here, I would want to make sure that they're comfortable with it. Could I read the first
Yeah,
sentence?
please do.
The first sentence of condition 59 would now read, with a minor adjustment, prior to first issuance of building permit and final map approval, the applicant shall obtain approval from the Community Development Department Director and the city attorney, and here's the added language, comma, and record in the LA County Recorder's Office, comma, and then back to what you have before you, covenants, conditions, and restrictions for this development. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Guess what, Ms. Pinero, get to come up here and say yes.
Good evening, Chairman Vose, and good evening, Commissioners. Yes, we will accept that condition.
All right, very good, thank you.
I'm so pleased to be able to come up and speak with you tonight.
All right, thanks. Okay, so we'll close the public hearing now without objection and consider a motion as amended.
I move to adopt resolution number 23-34, tentative tract map number 83590, to allow for the subdivision of 28.5 gross acres into 106 single-family lots in the R7000 zone located at the northwest corner of Avenue J and 35th Street East, and adopting a mitigating negative declaration.
All right, thank you.
A second.
Thank you. Anything further from anyone? Please vote. Motion passes 6-0 with one absent. Good luck with the project. All right, the next item is item number 6. This is a general plan amendment 17-007, and the zone change 17006. So without objection, this item is open, and Ms. Swain will enlighten us.
Chairman Vos and members of the Planning Commission, before you tonight is a general plan amendment and zone change in support of an industrial development. The proposed general plan amendment and zone change would cover 160 acres on the south side of Avenue H between 50th Street West and 55th Street West. The general plan amendment would change the land use designation from non-urban residential to light industrial, and the zone change would change the zoning from RR 2.5 to light industrial. This change is necessary to support the proposed development on a portion of the subject site. With approval of the general plan amendment and zone change, the applicant is proposing to develop approximately 30 of the 160 acres with a proposed industrial and manufacturing development. This area is shown in green. The industrial manufacturing development would consist of a 630,000 square foot electric school bus manufacturing facility, which would employ approximately 650 individuals. At full production, it is estimated that the facility would produce approximately 4,000 buses per year. And this is just a layout of their floor plan, and you can see the manufacturing lines. The building would be gray and cypress green insulated metal construction with dark gray, black, and white accent features. The building entrance would be on the north side facing Avenue H with roll-up doors for deliveries and buses on the west and east sides. The building would be required to comply with design guidelines for 360-degree architectural features. The facility would be fenced with a block wall and tubular steel perimeter fence with a sign along Avenue H indicating the use. As part of the environmental review process, a total of 4 comment letters were received, 1 from a neighbor, 1 from Antelope Valley Air Quality Management District, 1 from Caltrans, and 1 from Blue Collins and Ho, representing Golden State Environmental Justice Alliance. These letters have been provided to the commissioners. The letters from the Air District and Caltrans are routine comment letters and do not raise any issues that need to be addressed. The letter from the neighbor states that he is opposed to the project. The letter from Bloom Collins states that the project did not adequately address environmental justice issues in the EIR, and the only specific issue that is raised in the comment letter has to do with a health risk assessment. A health risk assessment screening analysis was conducted as part of the environmental document and the air quality report, and it was determined that there was no need for a full-blown health risk assessment as they did not meet the thresholds. As such, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution 2335, recommending approval of the general plan amendment and zone change to City Council, and adopting the initial study mitigated negative declaration. I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. There may well be some. Do we have speakers on this item?
We have 2 speaker cards.
We do have speakers, all right.
Yes.
Is the applicant here?
I do not see them or their engineer in the audience.
Oh, all right, very good, thank you. So, go ahead and call. How many speakers do we have?
Just 2. We have 2, yes.
2? All right.
Lance Bruff.
Please come to the podium, please, and identify yourself and speak with your outside voice, because some of us up here are hearing impaired, and that's me.
I'm good at doing that. My name is Lance Bruff. I'm the one and only neighbor across the street from this project.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Thanks for having me. I read in the report that it actually said that the property was somewhat vacant, or appeared to be vacant, but it is not vacant at all. We live there. We're concerned about the air quality. I don't know if you guys have ever been to an industrial area where they spray paint. If I'm not mistaken, they're going to have 2 spray paint booths in that facility. It's somewhat nauseating, and you can't help it being, downwind of it. We're going to be downwind of it. We're going to get the even if there's filtration systems and stuff, those particulates still become airborne. And if you ever go to any spray paint areas, industrial areas, that will be apparent. Light pollution is also a concern. Let's see, there's other concerns. Let's see. Help me, babe. Traffic. Traffic is a big concern. We got Michael's and Rite Aid down the street. And that's, I don't know what the shift changes are going to be at BYD, if they're going to have various changes as far as morning, afternoon, and evening shifts. But if it's anything like Michael's and Rite Aid, it's a zoo when they let out, and it's a racetrack. I'm concerned also with on the map, I don't know if you can bring that map up again, where the driveway is going to be and adjacent to ours are they going to redo the streets? Yeah. Yeah, if we can find out where the driveway is going to be and adjacent to ours.
We'll let staff respond once you're done with your comments,
Yeah, that'd be
please.
awesome. Appreciate that. Yeah, light pollution is a big thing, and then the air and stuff. Yeah, I think that's all I can think of right now. Thanks. I yield my time. Is that the right terminology?
All right, Mr. Bro, thank you.
Thanks.
Do we have another speaker?
Yes, we do. Andrew Heiger.
All right. Good evening, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Andrew Heiger, licensed contractor. Hi, Ms. Swain, how are you? I work for Lance at Brogue Maintenance. I don't live in his house. I'm just there for meals. Wife's a good cook. My concerns are as his as well. When you live out in the boonies, you like your privacy, you like your quiet, you like the sunsets, everything that we look for, especially on the west side of the Antelope Valley. So to have a very large building going in across the street, we're going to have some concerns. But we don't want to stop progress. We're also contractors. We could be hired by this company. We can work together, and we want to be good neighbors. It'd be stupid to not be. My main concern as a really good-looking contractor is because I was out there the other day marking it off, where is the main exit and entry where the signage is going to be in relationship to my boss's property? That's my main concern. I read the entire 62-page manifesto. It's good if you need help falling asleep. And it looks like they're taking every single precaution that they should be, building everything wonderful. And one of the kids who works for me works at the BYD facility. And it's a great program. It's a great company. And we should have it. But we should have it where we're working together and helping each other. And his is the only house out there directly across the street. So whatever considerations and concerns could be addressed would be truly appreciated. And I also take requests, classic rock, oldies. Oh, never mind. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir.
No additional speaker cards.
Do we have any other speakers?
No, sir.
Okay. Commissioner?
Great. Thank you. I have a question. Where on that map is your house located?
It's that little green dot at the top, right there.
You could even see him out in the yard probably.
Yeah.
If you look real hard.
I'm making some cabinets right there.
Actually, I've driven past your house many times. And so I'm aware that there's, humans living out there, not just lizards and such. But I can see your concern about where the input, or the ingress and the egress would be in relation to your house. So looking at the map, is that house on Avenue H, or is it on the side street?
It's right on H,
Okay.
right
Thank
on
you.
Avenue H.
And of course, you don't want to move.
We got a great spot there, we love it.
Yeah.
To get you on the record, you need to come to the podiums to answer the questions, because otherwise, it doesn't get into the record.
Gotcha, thank you. Thank you. Yes, that is our house, and it is right on Avenue H. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why we moved out there, because we have no neighbors, great view, quiet, see the stars at night. You know, I'm afraid I've talked to my neighbor down the street. He lives right across from Michael's in Rite Aid, and he said it's light pollution, accidents all the time, people running the lights. It's just, he hates it, you know. Even though they put a fence in for him to kind of block and rerouted his driveway to the side of his property, but it's changed his, you know, they moved his easement, they changed a lot of things, and he's not really happy with it. But when I guess a big company comes to town, you know, it's hard for the little guy, but yeah, we love it there.
Have there been any kind of discussions with the BYD company about mitigating your issues?
There has been no contact whatsoever, no. Mm-mm. Wouldn't even know who to contact, or just pick up the phone and call. You know, I don't know who I would even get. You know, I would imagine that they can reach out to us anytime. Shoot, they can come over to the house, have a beer. You know, sit down and talk with them. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes, I do have a couple of questions. This is primarily for staff, and I know the City of Lancaster, we're normally good stewards of our environment, and from an environmental perspective, compliance with, I know there's certain filters with paint booths, and I am a little bit of a nerd when it comes to, you know, environmental, but I can't think of the name of the type of a filter, but has that all been vetted as far as closeness and distance for residential as opposed to industrial?
Correct. So paint booths, everything related to this project is indoors. The paint booth is inside the facility and gets permitted by the Air District, and they're required to comply with all the Air District regulations. In addition, there is a condition of approval that requires the roll-up doors on this facility to be closed at all times unless they are moving a bus in or out. So the doors should not be open, which would also provide another layer of preventing things. But yes, they have to comply with all their district rules on it.
So what does it do from a carbon footprint perspective as far as metric tons? Do we know if it's how many more additional metric tons it's being generated in the atmosphere, or is that something that was considered from a compliance perspective?
For the paint booth or for the development as a whole?
The development as a whole, because
Yes,
I'm
it
looking
was. So
for having
greenhouse-
2 paint booths.
Yeah, greenhouse gases were considered as part of this. They are well below the thresholds.
Okay.
In addition, what they would be manufacturing are 100% electric.
Okay.
So these are electric school buses. So it would replace school buses currently on the road that tend to be either diesel or natural gas with 100% electric school buses, probably similar to the AVTA transit buses.
Okay. And then with regard to traffic, what was the last traffic study that we had, knowing that we already have the 2 companies that are there?
They had to do a project-specific traffic study, which is not considered an environmental issue, but the traffic study was done.
But I mean, aside from a safety perspective, when Andrew Heiger? I know
Correct.
he had mentioned as far as getting in and out.
So the traffic study considered the operational aspects of the facility, all the vehicles generated, improvements necessary to ensure safe operation. And those are conditions of approval.
Okay, all right, thank you.
It's an offset fee as well as over $500,000 on that, right?
Correct, for their vehicle miles traveled, which is different from the conditions of approval with respect to operational impacts.
I do have one more question. So how many homes are in that vicinity? I know his is the closest. How many other homes are out there?
I'm going to guess somewhere between 5 and 10 immediately adjacent. So you have one here, there's a handful over here, and there's some over here. The rest of it is vacant around it, and then you have, this down here is the prison complex. And then there's obviously more residential this way. On the north side of Avenue H, so this area up here, is the Foxfield Industrial Specific Plan. That goes all the way up to 70th East and up to, I believe, Avenue F, which is focused on industrial uses.
So everything north of Avenue H is light industrial uses currently.
Correct.
That's where I was going with it, just to find out just how close, I'm going to mess your name up, Lance Browse? How close his home is.
Looks to be on the
So it is,
west side of the 30 acres. However, the land use change, the general plan amendment and the land use change is not just for the 30 acres, it's for the entire 160.
correct. So the GPA,
ultimately, let me finish, please. Ultimately, the land use, assuming, first of all, that the Planning Commission approves it, second of all, the City Council approves it, then, and the protest period runs, and there's no litigation on and on and on, the 160 acres becomes light industrial use by right
correct.
with typically no further Planning Commission or public hearing oversight.
That is correct.
Okay, just to be clear.
Thank you, Ms. Swain. That answers my questions.
I have another question.
Go ahead.
Avenue H. Okay, there's an off-ramp from over on Sierra Highway, which of course, this is not.
The
close-
14 freeway, you mean? Yes.
Yeah.
uh-huh. Yeah, there is.
Yes. So is there some kind of exit from Avenue H on this side, over by where he is?
Is there some kind of what?
An exit, like,
Yes. uh-huh.
So from Avenue 8, from the 14 freeway, you
Yes.
can get off at Avenue H and go either at west or eastbound.
so what kind of exit is there westbound?
It's a full interchange.
Okay, is it freeway?
It's so the 14 freeway has an interchange, and so you can get off at the 14 onto H at the interchange and either go westbound or eastbound.
Okay, that's what I was stumbling around trying to ask. I'm wondering about if there's going to be traffic issues because they have this big equipment to move. They have big buses to get over to wherever they're going to be located after they're built. And I know there's a lot of traffic on Avenue H already because of Rite Aid and et cetera. So is this going to impact negatively on I know these people are further out.
So the project will generate traffic, and a traffic study was done.
Okay.
And the impacts of that traffic on the circulation system, Avenue H and other roadways were analyzed, and there are conditions of approval requiring certain improvements to ensure the safe and adequate operation of the roadways.
Good.
That was in addition to the mitigation measure requiring them to pay our vehicle miles traveled impact fee to account for the vehicle miles that would be generated and to do additional improvements citywide.
Is there a prediction as to how much traffic will be going past his house?
Well, all traffic going to the facility is going to be coming down Avenue H. Off the top of my head, I do not know the specific traffic numbers. Let me check. Okay, the estimated, no, I don't have the actual trips. It was 3,702 VMT per day that needed to be reduced.
What is
But-
BMT?
That's
Vehicle
in-
miles traveled.
That's in and out, right?
I don't believe that there's that many trips associated with it. There's 650 employees.
Okay, thank you.
And where on the property is the main entrance to the facility, if we know?
We do. So the main entrance is going to be right here. So on the eastern boundary of their project site is going to be the drive aisle coming in to a main entrance into the site down here. So that's going to be, they'll be coming off of H right around here and then going into the facility.
All right, anything further?
Do we know that anticipated hours of operation is a 24-hour facility?
It is not a 24-hour facility. It is a one shift per day facility per the applicant.
Okay.
Public utilities, I know, when I read the staff report and all the backup material on everything tonight, actually, the site would be required to hook up to sanitary sewer. However, the sewer main is either in I or further east in H.
That is correct.
So if they go to I, they got to put a lift station in, and if they go to H, depending, it could, they may have to put a lift station in there too.
That would be correct.
But that analysis is not part of this application because it's not a project until they have the land use approved.
Correct. So off-site improvements associated with the project are assumed in the project description in the CEQA document. It's not part of the staff report because the site plan review is a staff level approval after this makes it through the city council.
Right. And thank you for providing the elevations and the rest. And you said it was it a roughly 32-foot high building?
I think it's closer to 40, but it will not go above 50 feet, which is the maximum height for the zone. And they don't plan on going higher than that.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I think that's all I have.
Can I add in a couple of responses to the member of the public's comments?
Yes, I would like you to address that.
So he brought up the spray paint booths, which I believe Ms. Harvey had also brought up, and I've already responded to. With respect to light pollution, they have a mitigation measure where they're required to provide me with an overall aesthetics design that addresses how they are going to deal with lighting, aesthetics, and other issues that may impact the neighbor for approval prior to issuance of construction permits. Traffic, obviously, we've been talking about that for a couple of minutes. It is one shift. They are not running multiple shifts at this facility. They have specified one shift only, and they were also explained too that changes to that would require them to get additional approval.
Do you know if it's a staggering of shifts because they're sharing that space of sorts being way out with two other companies? Do they stagger it to sort of alleviate a little bit of the traffic?
I don't know what the operational hours of this facility would be in comparison to the operational facilities of Michaels and Rite Aid. This is 550 manufacturing kind of employees plus another 100 office personnel. So there might be a slight, office personnel start at 9, and manufacturing maybe start at, 6 or 7, but that I don't know, and it has not been specified.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Chairman Vos, if I can interrupt, it looks like Mr. Bruff would like to, if,
I'm not done yet. Thank you.
sorry.
On item number 6, the comment letter that we received from the Golden State Environmental Justice Alliance representatives, Blum, Collins, and Ho, indicated that they were commenting on an environmental impact report. In reality, what they were commenting on was not an EIR, correct?
That is correct. We prepared an initial study mitigated negative declaration. It was not an EIR.
They attached a letter from a firm called SWAPE, which attempted to address air quality and health risk impacts. And also purporting to discuss a general heavy industrial use, wherein the proposed project land use is not heavy industrial.
Correct.
So this representative of this Golden State Environmental Justice Alliance apparently didn't read the staff report nor the proposed initial study or the proposed solutions in the environmental document. That's just an editorial comment. They did make some recommendations to consider designs into 2035, which I thought was kind of interesting. Since there aren't any design requirements currently that meet that threshold, but everybody's got a right to their own opinion. And they were concerned about diesel emissions, wherein this particular factory will be manufacturing electric buses, which are zero emissions.
Correct.
Just want to get that on the record. Thank you. In our initial study on page 7, it defines a project. On page 29, it does talk about energy. On page 34, it does address greenhouse gas emissions. On page 36, it does talk about hazards from material coatings. On page 48, it does talk about noise, and at the PL, it talks about 44 dBAs, which is substantially lower than most residential neighborhoods, other than through the construction phase, which is short-lived. And it will not exceed 65 dBA at the sensitive receptors, the current existing sensitive receptors, right?
Correct. So for residential zones, the noise level is 65 dBA. For industrial zones, it's 75 dBA. The noise study proved that at the sensitive receptors adjacent to the site, the noise levels will not exceed the established thresholds.
Right, okay. Just want to make sure I was reading it right. Thank you. Okay, so we've addressed the comments, I believe, the written comments from Mr. Blum. Blum, am I saying that right?
I'm
No.
sorry, Lance?
Bro,
Ruff?
sorry.
It's okay.
Anything else from members? No? Anything? All right, we're good? All right then. So, unless there's an objection, we'll close the public hearing and consider what to do.
Can I mention something else?
I beg your pardon?
Can I mention something else?
Well, the public hearing, your comment period is up. We've
Is it?
been.
Okay, thank
But,
you.
but we'll be certainly, we'll let you talk.
Oh, okay.
But it's not a, it's not a give and take back and forth, back and forth. It's.
No,
it's-
I
it's not-
understand that.
So please state your comments, and if there's something new you want to add.
Just one of
please
the
do.
big things that wasn't mentioned at all is the lithium-ion batteries that are going to be stored at this facility and used for these electric vehicles. And if you guys have seen those things catch on fire on YouTube or whatnot, those things are pretty violent. And if any of those things catch on fire, we're downwind and we're right in contact with any kind of fire that goes on at that facility. I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
So,
ahead.
Ms. Swain, is that anecdotal, or is that something that he has knowledge of?
So lithium batteries are likely going to be the source of the batteries in the buses, similar to other electric vehicles. Lithium batteries can catch on fire, just like anything else, but they are required to comply with the storage and usage requirements of the fire department, all hazardous materials regulations. There's fire suppression in the building, so it should not be an issue.
And just out of curiosity, I know that's not something that you would probably have, handy, but their existing facility, do we know if there's anything like that that's happened thus far?
I am not aware of anything that has happened at either of their facilities, either the manufacturing facility on H or their battery production facility off of Division.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, at a minimum, they'll be required to have on-site fire suppression, and at a minimum, a 4,000 gallon per minute fire flow requirement from all the hydrants on that site, at a minimum.
Yes, the fire department has been involved in the review of this project.
That's the highest fire flow requirement in LA County. However, nothing's perfect. There's always risk. Okay, so, anything further? None? Okay, thank you. So the public hearing is closed, and we'll consider a motion.
Then I move to adopt resolution number 2335, recommending approval to City Council GPA number 17-007 to change the general plan designation to LI and ZC number 17-006 to change the zoning to, I'm just going to say light industrial, light, for 160 gross acres located on the south side of Avenue H between 50th Street West and 55th Street West, adopting the initial study, mitigated negative declaration, approving the mitigation, monitoring, and reporting program, and authorizing staff to execute the notice of determination.
Thank you.
A second.
Thank you. Anything further from members? All right, then. It's been moved and seconded. Please vote. All right, the motion passes 4 yeses, 2 noes, and 1 absent. So this item will go to the city council for their consideration. I'm not sure when, whether it'll be in December or January.
December 12th.
December 12th. So anyone and everyone will have an opportunity to address the city council on this matter, should you choose to. All right, the next item is item number 7. This is a new public hearing, which is now open on General Plan Amendment 23-001, zone change number 23-001, tentative tract map number 23-007. Ms. Swain, what do you do in your spare time?
I'm not granted much of that.
Go right ahead.
Chairman Losa, members of the Planning Commission, before you tonight is a general plan amendment, zone change, and tentative tract map in support of an affordable housing project. The proposed general plan amendment, zone change, and tentative tract map would cover 45 acres on the west side of Sierra Highway between Avenue H and Avenue H8. The subject property is currently designated a mix of MR1 and open space and zoned a mix of moderate density residential and park. The general plan amendment and zone change would make the designation on the entire 45 acres MR1 and the zoning MDR. This would facilitate the development of the entire 45 acres with a two-phased affordable housing project. Tentative tract map number 23-003 would subdivide the 45 acres into 109 lots, 98 residential lots, 10 common use lots, and 1 remainder lot. The remainder lot would be for phase 2 of the proposed development. The 98 residential lots would each be a minimum of 6,100 square feet with a maximum lot size of 8,264 square feet. All lots would meet the minimum depth and width, with the exception of some of the corner lots which have a width of less than 80 feet. As an affordable housing development, the applicant has requested a concession from this development standard in accordance with state law. All corner lots would have a minimum width of 65 feet, with lot 15 having a width of 76. These dimensions have been reflected on the tentative map. The proposed development consists of a two-phased, 100% affordable, private gated rental housing community. Phase 1 consists of 196 units, and Phase 2 consists of up to 303 units for a maximum of 499 units. Phase 1 consists of 196-unit housing development on individual lots. Each lot within Phase 1 would consist of a primary residence and an accessory dwelling unit with off-street parking. A 40-space parking facility would be provided at the western edge of the property to provide additional parking for the adjacent Mariposa Park. Recreational amenities would be provided to the residents, including private open space, paseos, 3 open space park areas, and a community center. Pedestrian gates from the development to the adjacent Whit Carter Park would also be provided. Primary access to the development would be from 2 driveways on Sierra Highway with an additional access point from Avenue H4. The residences within the development would be a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms ranging in size from 687 square feet to not quite 1,300 square feet. In accordance with ADA requirements, a percentage of the units would be accessible and would also provide accessible parking. The affordability of the proposed development would range from 30 to 80% of the area median income, which results in an equivalent income level of $26,500 to $100,900, depending on the number of individuals residing in the household. And these are some additional elevations and floor plans.
So they're all single-story?
All single-story. As part of the environmental review, a total of 9 comment letters were received, 8 from residents and 1 from the Antelope Valley Air Quality Management District. These letters have been provided to you. The Air District letter is routine and does not raise any issues that need to be addressed. The letters from neighbors identify their concerns with the development of an affordable housing project, including increased crime, drugs, and traffic. Staff recommends the Planning Commission adopt Resolution 2336, recommending approval of the GPA zone change to City Council, approving the tentative map, and adopting the initial study mitigated negative declaration. I'm here to answer any questions, and the applicant is also present and can answer questions.
All right, thank you. This site, this 45 acres or 42, whatever it is, 45, is currently owned by the successor agency of the city of Lancaster and is under contract that was approved by the city council some time ago with the proposed developer.
Correct. So there's a DDA that was approved by city council, I believe, in May of this year, with the proposed developer.
I see, okay. And the majority of the land relative to the land use has the majority, not all, but the majority of the land historically has been multi-residential development, up to 15 units the acre, right? For the, not all, but some of it.
Correct. So this area was previously developed with other uses that have obviously been demolished. The center portion here is the portion that is currently designated as park. Everything else is MDR, which allows between 7.1 and 15 units to the acre.
So the yield is under 12 units per acre, closer to 11.
10 to 11 units to the acre for both Phase 1 and the entire site overall.
All single story.
All single story.
And this is a rental project
Correct.
as opposed to fee ownership of individual lots and homes.
Correct. So the way Phase 1 is structured is that there's individual lots with a primary single-family residence and an ADU on it. Both the ADU and the primary residence have off-street parking. The entire development is gated, would have security, would have their own guest parking within the facility. So there would be no parking on the neighboring streets associated with this development.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Swain, if you know, is this the same developer that has the project on K and 40th Street West?
So this is ultimately Ravello Holdings, and so Velo Valley is their market rate development off of 40th.
So yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
So where does this proposed project fit into our approved housing element? Or how does it, I should say, not where does it?
It helps the city with providing another 499 affordable housing units out of the close to 2,600 that we're required to provide.
Interestingly enough, this commission over the years has considered a number of developments of not necessarily exactly this type, but similar type in design and approval for folks in those income brackets. Have yet to be developed, but are approved.
So this kind of development in this income bracket, I don't know of any that we have approved. We have several in this income bracket that are more apartment complex style that have either recently received their C of Os or getting ready to receive their C of Os or are under construction.
Okay. But not single story.
Not single story.
It's rather unique, actually. All right, then. Thank you. Any further questions of staff?
I do. Of course.
Go ahead.
First of all, there's a term here that I don't understand, is a detention area. What is it? It sounds like a place to put prisoners.
So this area right here, it's a place where stormwater runoff can be detained.
Okay.
and allowed to drain or slowly drain into the sewer system or evaporate.
You know, I actually was going to ask a question about the location or the care that was taken with that piece of property, because that it has had a history of a lot of water flow. And so that answers that question. ADUs, where do ADUs come into on this particular project? Is everybody going to have a big enough backyard? Are they going to be attached or what?
So there's going to be a single-family residence, and there's going to be an accessory dwelling unit on each property. They're both detached. They will both have their own small private open space, and then they will have access to the community open space.
Okay, and they'll be separate, not attached in any way to the main house.
Correct. So you'll have the primary residence on a property, and you'll have an ADU, but they will be separate and distinct from each other.
How large will the ADUs be?
The houses on the property range from 600 and some odd square feet, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, to almost 1,300, which would be 3 bedroom and I believe 2 bath.
Okay. There's going to be a lot of people in that project.
Yes, but it's no different than a lot of other developments that we have in the city where someone has put an ADU on a property and you have the people in a main house and, you know, the neighbors have an ADU on their property and move their children or their parents in.
And that's usually very helpful and I'm glad our city is doing this. And they're going to all be rentals. Sierra Highway traffic is something that concerns me because I used to work at Edwards and I would take Sierra Highway, and that it can be a brutal trip because the traffic goes very fast through there. And so about the only thing I can think of that would slow it down would be to have the highway patrol, you know, patrolling frequently, or having stoplights. What has been imagined for traffic control along that area? Because there have been many deaths out there.
So as far as this goes, I do not believe there are any signals, but Sierra Highway is being fully improved in front of the project site, and I believe there is a dedicated turn lane going into the development.
Okay. So signal lights on Sierra Highway. How about trees? Are we going to have lots of trees in that area? Because it's going to be really crowded and people need to have trees.
So the entire property is going to be landscaped. You can see there's several open park recreational facilities. Along the frontage on Sierra Highway, there's a trail system that's being landscaped, but also in between the lots running north-south, those are paseos, and those paseos will be landscaped. They will be landscaped in accordance with the drought-tolerant requirements that we have in the city, but there will be trees.
Okay, good, thank you.
Anything further?
No, I'm sorry, nothing further, thank you.
All right, members, anything? We do have speakers on this. Some of the questions, the applicant is here, and if he, I'm assuming?
The applicant is here and he's available to answer any questions.
And we'll invite you to speak to us if you like, or not. It's entirely up to you. You are Mr. Harbison?
Yes, sir.
Well, good evening, Mr. Harbison. Welcome.
Good evening, Chairman Bose and Planning Commission members. We're honored to be up here today presenting this 100% affordable housing project, which we do have a couple of examples of in the city of Palmdale, 100% detached, single-story houses with private yard spaces. We felt that was very important in our design of our community to offer that to folks in these income brackets. I'd like to also point out that we hire a professional management company to manage these communities, and we run them and keep them clean and well-maintained and secure. So I understand the concern from the community. We do hear the same kind of concerns, but we do like to run a tight ship on our projects, and I think folks will really be pleased with the quality and the level of commitment we have for the community. I would like to, and one final thing I'd like to say is we have been awarded low-income tax credit bond financing from the state to fund the development of this project already. So funding is in place to develop the project. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I have one.
Sure.
Just with the ADUs and is it like a shared yard space, or do they have like their own kind of thing going on? How is that going to work, like with the single-family homes and with the ADUs?
Yes, sir.
Shared space?
So the concept that we've come up with is on the front of the residential lot is the main house, which is, in this particular project, would be either a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom. And then behind that is an ADU consisting of either a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom. What we like to do is we like to space the ADU at least 12 to 15 feet behind the main house to provide the yard space for the main house. And then we orient the ADU sideways so that we can get at least 10 feet, if not more, of yard space in the back for the ADU as well. And we found this actually works pretty well in providing a nice yard space for families or folks when they occupy those units.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
With the, I suppose is it a credit, a tax credit on the one end?
Yes, ma'am.
What comes along with that? Is there a certain amount of tenants that have to be subsidized?
Yes, ma'am. It's 100% affordable, so all the tenants will have to go through an approval process and have their income verified. The AMI ranges between 30 and 80, and it's spread across those mean incomes for Los Angeles County. So if you're coming in at a 30 or a 50% AMI, you'd have to prove income. Our management company actually manages that process. And then once you have proof of income confirmed, then that tenant can occupy the unit.
What about with regard to size? With the smallest, it sounds like at about 687 square feet. That I would think that'd be a 1-in-1, right? 1 bedroom, 1 bath.
That's correct.
So is that a max 2 occupants? I mean, do you have
That would be
stipulations?
a max 2 occupants for that.
So that's
Correct.
something that's going to be strictly
That
controlled?
would be, exactly, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So the families can obviously occupy the 2 and 3 bedroom, but on those 1 bedroom, that would be controlled, so.
All right, thank you.
I have one more question. How is this leap in population for that particular area, how is that going to impact the school that's just kind of right behind the back door there?
That's a good question. We are required to pay school impact fees, like any other development, to mitigate any impacts that would be the new population coming in, any impacts to the school system, we'd be required to pay school impact fees to offset those impacts to help school districts build more facilities and more capacity for the schools.
Has that worked out well in Palmdale?
So far, we've actually, our very first 100% project was at the intersection of 65th Street East and Avenue S. It was actually right next to the Knight High School and a middle school and an elementary school. And those schools have absorbed the students that live in our community fairly easily, so no problems.
So your school fees are about $2.5 million, huh?
They're quite expensive between the elementary and the high school.
Well, you have 3 districts.
Yes.
I didn't do that in my head, by the way.
I want to say it's $5 and something a square foot, so, and that gets applied to all the units.
Have you had an opportunity to view the correspondence or concerns that the folks are going to
Yes,
undoubtedly
we-
testify to here tonight?
Yes, sir, we did get a correspondence from one gentleman, and I apologize, I haven't had a chance to respond to that person. I haven't seen the
That's
other.
okay.
the other court.
We'll let you have an opportunity to rebut after they've
Yeah.
made their comments, if you'd like.
And I'd be happy to leave my information with anybody here and continue dialogue. Obviously, we want to be good
Sure.
neighbors.
Very good.
Yes,
Anything further, members? No, thank you. Thanks very much.
thank you.
Chairman Bose? I just want to add for Commissioner Underwood's clarification. When we route projects, the school districts do get a copy of it, and they have their opportunity to provide input if they have specific concerns that need to be addressed, and we did not receive a response.
That includes the community college, the high school district, as well as Lancaster Elementary.
It includes the high school district, in this case Lancaster Elementary. The college does not want to be notified unless the project is within a mile of their project.
Too busy over there, apparently. But they do collect some fees. All right, then, we have a number of speakers.
3 speakers.
3? Okay. And we ask you to use your outside voice when you come to the podium, please.
Maribel Olmos.
Come right up here. Good evening, and welcome.
Hi, everybody. Just I want to know, my name is Maribel Olmos. I live at the Fifth Avenue, 45674. The backyard is gonna be that project in my backyard. So the thing is, I be here because I'm concerned about how many houses is gonna be there. So how many people is gonna be there? It's a bit so crowded. We already have so many issues around the area. I live in the area for 20 years already. I grew my kids down there. And I'm concerned because I work for the Lancaster district, and I know that Mariposa School, they are very crowded. And I live down there, and there's so many traffic already. So it's almost 500 houses. Can you imagine? I already go and walk the area, the acres, and I feel so crowded, and I said, this project is good. I understand there's a lot of people need houses and they pay less, but I think it's not a good for that area. We already have criminals. We already have so many issues already, and nobody listens to us. Nobody listens to us. The good thing is we already have so many good people around the area, and our neighborhoods talk. We all talk each other, and we already have. And I said, I don't think it's good. I'm sorry. My English is not correct. It's not 100%, but I try my best.
All right, then. Thank you for your comments. Have another speaker?
Diana Voorhees.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, good evening.
I'm Diana Voorhees. Can you hear me? Am I okay? Can you hear me now?
Oh, you're out, just like you were talking to the kids down the street.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Okay. So what Maribel just presented right now, it's the same concern that I have. Not only us, there's several of us, but the problem is lots of us did not receive the notice. We didn't get the notice until Maribel brought the notice to us. So that's probably why you don't see a lot of us here from the H district, the H area, because lots of us didn't get that. So we want to be heard. It is crowded. If you've been to New York, it's the same. It's the same. You can't even step out of your own driveway without someone clogging it up. A lot of noise. And just to mention that, we're going to have much more congestion now, more than ever. I mean, even reading the notice, it says units. Didn't say anything about single housing. So can you clarify this is all single housing and not units as apartments?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
But we want to hear all your comments,
Okay.
and then we'll address them.
That is my concern, is what we're struggling with every day of our lives. 23 years ago, it used to be quiet. Now it's just climbed up to a lot of nonsense.
It's progress, eh?
Yeah, progress. But for us, it's not. It's actually nuisance. So that's where we want to draw a line. We need to be heard. We live there. You don't. We do.
Well, we certainly live in this community.
Yeah, but not on that street. Do you live on the street? Anyone? Anyone know about the street? You have a question?
I had a friend, a really good friend, who lived over in that area for many years, 3 or 4 years. And this was probably 25 years ago. And she left because of there was such a large group of people who wouldn't take care of their property, and it was rentals, and their kids were running wild, and et cetera. So I understand your concerns.
And that's just not mine. There's several of us that feel this way, and at least one party wasn't able to make it today. Tonight, she really wanted to come. But basically, my time's almost up. I'm watching the clock. I want to respect that. And just want you guys to hear us out. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments. And we have another speaker?
Leona Jones, and we actually have one more after that.
All right, thank you. Evening and welcome.
Hello, my name is Leona Jones. I actually so this property is actually going to be built in my backyard. My concern is I'm a single mother. I have 3 small girls. We have a pool in my backyard. I'm concerned that my privacy, they're going to be able to look over my backyard, see everything over there. I'm concerned about the traffic. I'm concerned about the school traffic, because right now it's 30 kids to 1 teacher. So I'm concerned about that. And I just want to have a question. I just want to know, why low income? Why can't it be, something that people can purchase?
That's all you have to ask.
Yep.
All right. Staff will respond to you. Do we have another speaker?
Yes, Brenda Nellis.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening to the commissioners and everybody here. We live right on H4, one house over as where they're going to be building a parking lot and stuff. It is a lot of congestion already because they park all on the side of our house. We own our home there. We've been there 20 plus years. And we spoke to Miss Lady, I forgot her name, Miss Swain, and we were just wondering, is there going to be a in and out where the cars can go on H4 as far as us also, instead of us like being blocked and they can only come on our side? Is there going to be where we can, like go through? Because we was,
don't be nervous.
We walked to the other park that's over there because we live right across the street from Mariposa Park and Mariposa Elementary. We always walk our dog and we walk to the other park. And we're wondering, are they going to have a trail where it's like everybody can walk and, come out H4? We're wondering how the cars are going to be coming in and out of there. And will we also have access? Because they're going to have access on our side instead of, it's like that's their community, this is ours. But they can come on ours, we can't come on theirs.
Once everyone finishes, we'll be happy to respond.
Oh, right. I'm just wondering. Yeah, I think that's about all. And I was wondering, how do you get on the list, for these homes? I guess that'd be answered also.
Oh,
You know,
Well,
but it's
I would
going to be a
imagine-
lot of oh, excuse me.
I
Go
would
ahead.
imagine the developer will be able to answer that question.
I bet.
All right.
Yeah, but it is a lot of traffic now. It really is. Because they double park, triple park, you know, get out their cars to get their kids. Because my grandson goes right there. And we're just trying to see how.
Total panic, 20 minutes twice a day, right?
Yes. And because the cars don't slow down as it is. We have speed bumps. And, you know, I'll take my time walking across the street, you know, just to let them see, come on, because you have your child. That doesn't mean you go ahead and speed out, because they're going to wait till a child gets hit, then, you know, like, oh, so, you know, sorry, you know. So I just wonder what they're going to do about all this.
All right?
Thank you.
That's all you have?
That's all.
All right, thank you for your comments. Is that the last speaker?
Yes, that's it.
All right, thank you. Mr. Herbison, do you care to comment now? And then our staff will make some comments?
Correct.
Thanks for having me back. The comment on the getting on the list for the houses, the homes are marketed usually by the same professional management company that we hire, and they get marketed to people so they can learn about the community. We also have physical marketing on the site as we're, you know, moving through construction, so folks can find us and apply or get on the wait list for the homes. I would just like to, we do have 2 marketing websites for our current affordable housing projects. One's maisonspalmdale.com and the other is maisonsvillage.com. I'd encourage anybody to go on either one of those sites and you can see what we're building and what we're offering. This will be very similar to that. In terms of access to the community, we, you know, during the planning stages and working with our architects and land planners, we felt that we really wanted to try to take primary access off of Sierra Highway. And we do have an extra access off of H4, but that is not necessarily for the primary access into the community. We think most folks are going to access the project off of Sierra Highway, and that's why we have 2 primary accesses off of that particular side of the project. So we're encouraging access from that side. We also wanted to secure the community, you know, for a sense of security for everybody, not just our community, but also our surrounding neighborhood. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions as well, if anybody has any. So
There may be some. Anyone?
Mr. Harbison, I just wanted to have you clarify. I know that one of the speakers mentioned, and perhaps I threw the question off because I mentioned subsidized when you mentioned having sort of a reduced, well, from a taxation perspective.
Correct.
I don't think that you meant subsidized housing,
No.
but, so if you could just clarify that just to,
Sure.
for those couple of speakers, please.
Sure. So we're able to offer the rents at below market rental values because of the tax credit. So the tax credits get sold to investors who purchase those for their own use, and that allows us to keep the rent subsidized. You know, the other aspect of the community is that the project is low income. There's a covenant on the property for 55 years, so we have to maintain it as a low income rental. So it's in our best interest to ensure the project is a successful project, that it's a well-maintained project, that it's a safe project, that our tenants are heavily screened, not just from an income perspective, but also from, I know there were some concerns about criminals and, you know, illegal activities. We do legal background checks on all the applicants, so I just wanted to put that in there as well, that we are the owner, operator of the limited partnership that owns the project, and we plan to hold these projects for the long term. So we are in it for the long haul, and we want to make sure that it's successful.
All right, thank you. Anything further?
Chairman and Commissioners, if I may interrupt, Chairman, while the applicant is at the microphone, we might ask him if he agrees with the conditions of approval. And in that regard, I have once again a proposed revision.
I think we got, we did receive a letter, or maybe it was an email,
Yes, sir. It was an email. It was a little bit late in the afternoon.
indicating they approved the conditions.
And Chairman
You
and
just want to
Commissioner,
confirm that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We approve.
I do have one revision to condition
Right.
84 to recommend.
Yeah, I have it here. That's on item 84.
Correct, and if I could read it into the
Sure, go
record,
ahead.
and we can then ask once again if the applicant agrees with the
Sure.
revised condition. The first sentence of the condition would now read, prior to first issuance of building permit and final map approval, the applicant shall obtain approval from, this says the Public Works Director. I want to make sure, do we mean that, or do we mean the Community Development Department Director?
We actually mean the Public Works Director, since it is their
Public Works.
condition.
Okay, so it remains as is, approval from the Public Works Director and the City Attorney, comma, and then we would add the following, and record in the LA County Recorder's Office, comma, and then it would go on as is, covenants, conditions, and restrictions for this development, period. And that would be the revised first sentence of condition 84.
We agree with that revised condition.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Ms. Swain?
Okay, just a couple of other things to add. This is a two-phase project. Phase 1 is as I described. Phase 2 is 100% senior. So those additional 303 units will be for senior only.
That means I qualify.
That means you qualify.
Yeah, thanks, okay.
So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear. With respect to noticing, based on the zoning for the site and the surrounding area, notices get sent to all property owners and occupants within 500 feet of the project site, and that's measured property line to property line. So that's who actually received the notice. The notice was also in the paper both times. It was posted here at City Hall. The hearing for tonight was posted on the project site, so it is out there. Anybody can ask to be added to the noticing if they would like to be, and I have no problem adding them. The question about units versus residents, planning staff really uses that interchangeably. Our zoning code is written for MDR as so many units to the acre. In this case, the units are single-family residential style instead of apartment complex style, but it's still that same density and that same number of dwelling spaces, entities, residences, units, however you choose to view it. But this is what the project would be designed as. They would not be building an apartment complex in the traditional sense. With respect to fencing, the perimeter fencing of the site would be block wall, just like you would have in a single-family residential subdivision. So the houses along Fig, where they have a block wall in the back of their backyard, it's going to be a block wall to the houses on the other side, just like if this had been a single-family residential subdivision. I think I brought up earlier, the school was included in our noticing at the beginning of this project, and we received no response. The payment of school impact fees is mandated by state as the way to mitigate impacts to schools. That's spelled out in Proposition 1A. Traffic, we also did a traffic study that has shown that even with this project, the intersections that were studied, specifically H4, would still operate at a good level. Let's see. Income levels for the project, while this is an affordable housing project in the 30 to 80% AMI, that's based on the area median income for Los Angeles County, which is approximately $98,000 a year. So what this works out for this project is that the income levels, depending if you had one person in your household up to 4, would range between $26,500 and $100,000 a year. So you could be a family of 4 at that 80% AMI, and your household income would be approximately $100,000 a year, and you would still qualify to live here. So I kind of wanted to make that clear. Access to the site from H4 is limited to the residents. It's not a cut-through. This is a gated residential community. With that said, as the applicant indicated, it is anticipated that most access would be from Sierra Highway. That secondary access is just there for, an extra access point in case there's an issue on Sierra Highway. It also provides the fire department another access point if they need it. And I think that was it. If you have any other questions, please let me know.
I have one question regarding access.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How are the children going to walk to school? They can't go out onto Sierra Highway.
They're not going to go out on Sierra Highway. They can walk right here. This is a roadway coming from the development.
Okay.
The school's right here.
Okay, I couldn't tell, sorry.
And what you didn't say is the city of Lancaster does not select developers or sites. They select us. And this particular land or any other residentially zoned property have minimum and maximum standards that applicants are obliged to conform to.
That is correct. And we do have affordable housing projects throughout the city. We have them on the east side of town. We have them in the central portion of town. We have them being built on the west side.
Yep.
So it is a mix of locations and housing styles.
And the ADUs, I understand there's a substantial number of ADUs that have been built, are currently under construction, and applications pending in the city right now.
That is correct. They are permitted with minimal, if any, review from city staff. And that's state law.
So the proposed development here, while unique in that it's single story with ADUs, is really not much different than any other single-family residential development where a homeowner wished to install an ADU and could very well do that as a use by right.
That is correct.
With little or no oversight, just building permit.
That is correct. ADUs don't even come through planning anymore.
Right, okay. All right, thank you. Members, anything further? No? All right then. So, it would be appropriate to close the public hearing then without objection and consider a motion on this project, including the amendment to, or the correction to the conditions number 84.
I move to adopt resolution number 23-36, recommending approval to the city council for GPA number 23-001 to change the general plan designation to MR1 and ZC number 23-001 to change the zoning to MDR, approving TTM number 23-003 for the subdivision of approximately 45 gross acres into 109 lots located on the west side of Sierra Highway between Avenue H and Avenue HH8, adopting the initial study mitigation negative declaration, approving the mitigation monitoring and reporting program, and authorizing staff to execute the notice of determination.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. All right, then, anything further? It's been moved and seconded, please vote. Motion passes 6-0 with one absent. Thank you all for your comments tonight, and best of luck with the project. That concludes our action items this evening. So, would you like to talk to us tonight? Ms. Garabay?
Sure. Nothing to report. Just wanted to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and a safe and good time with your families. And we'll catch you back in December for a nice busy meeting. That's all. I don't know if Larissa wants to say anything.
I do. Patty's keeping you all so busy. I wanted to take a moment and introduce Carrie Colgrove. For those of you that haven't had the opportunity to meet her, this was her very first presentation before the Planning Commission. She is an expert now. Now we are planning all kinds of cool projects for her. But Carrie has been a city employee for many, many years. She has 10 to be exact. She has a code enforcement background, and about a couple of years ago, year and a half or so, maybe 2 now, we stole her from code enforcement, brought her over, has been training to be a planner, and here she is. So just wanted to introduce her and acknowledge her. She did fantastic. Thank you all for being kind to her. She was happy to do her first presentation, and she knocked it out the park. So just wanted to recognize that. Thank you.
She did good. Baptism of fire. All right, thank you. That's it? All right. So how many items do we have in December? 15 or something?
No, I think it's closer to, it's either 5 or 6.
Oh, okay, great.
Inclusive of the 2 that we just pushed down the road?
Inclusive.
Okay.
Yes.
Commission agenda, anything members want to talk about? I noticed in legal publication that Southern California Association of Governments got a draft EIR out on the street for comment. So now that you've completed these 2 projects, Ms. Swain, I'm assuming you're making comments on that?
What's it for?
Well, it's for their, let's see, what is it? I'll have to send you the, oh, wait a minute. I may have it here. Hold on. Don't go away. A draft program environmental impact report for the 2024-2050 Regional Transportation Plan and Sustainable Communities Strategy.
If I have spare time.
If you have time, you've got clear till January 12th.
Doesn't mean I have time.
Well, I'm sure Stephen has some comments on that one, probably, right, Stephen? He's shaking your head. Yeah, I can see the top of your head. It's shaking yes, right? All right, then. Thank you. All right, that completes our agenda, the public business from the floor opportunity. This portion of the agenda allows individuals the opportunity to address the commission on any subject regarding city business. Under state legislation, no action can be taken on non-agenda items. Members of the public should be aware that when addressing the commission regarding the item not specifically referenced on the agenda. If you've completed a speaker's card, that's great. We'd like to have that information. And you're limited to 3 minutes each. So do we have any individual speakers for public business from the floor?
No speaker cards.
None? All right, then. So we'll stand adjourned then until our regular meeting of December 11th, 2023 at 5 p.m. here in these chambers.